This time we've got, well, frankly, kind of a heavy topic in front of us. The source material just gives us these two phrases: balance between humanity and nature, and humanity's impact on nature.
No.
But there's a lot to unpack there, right?
Yeah, I mean, there really is. I think it's really smart to pair those two together because they're not just separate definitions. They're talking about a relationship, and I think that's where we want to really dive in here.
Absolutely. And when you see that first phrase, balance, what's your gut reaction?
Well, I think the first thing is, what kind of balance are we even talking about? Is it this sort of perfect ideal state, everything in harmony? Or is it more like, I don't know, something that's a little bit more messy, a little bit more, back and forth?
That's interesting. Yeah, because when I see balance, honestly, I go to that image of a scale, perfectly balanced, not tipping one way or the other. But I mean, I guess the reality is, humanity is not static.
Right.
Nature is not static.
Right, exactly. So maybe this balance isn't really about some sort of fixed point, Maybe it's more like, what's the word, like dynamic. It's constantly adjusting.
Like a dance almost.
Exactly. Yeah, like a dance. Think about a forest ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
It has fires, it has, maybe insect infestations or diseases. But it has ways to, bounce back, to regenerate.
To reach a new equilibrium.
Right. And I think that's where that second phrase, humanity's impact on nature, really comes into play. Because, we are part of this system, right?
Yeah.
But are we helping it, maintain that balance? Or are we kind of throwing things off?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that we're having an impact, right? We're building cities, we're farming, we're, consuming resources. But I guess the real question is, like you said, is it too much?
Mm-hmm.
Are we pushing past the point where nature can kind of recover,
And that's what's so, thought-provoking about this source material. It doesn't give us any specifics about, this is the impact or this is how bad it is. It's leaving it to us to really think about.
To confront, honestly, the scale of it,
Yeah.
When you look at those two phrases, okay, there's this idea of balance, but then there's this, unavoidable truth that we are having a profound impact.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's important to remember is that, impact isn't always, inherently bad. I mean, nature's always changing, right? But I think what we need to be asking ourselves is, what kind of impact are we having? Is it sustainable? Is it, pushing things out of balance faster than they can recover?
Right. Thinking about specific examples, we use a ton of water, right, for everything. For drinking, for agriculture, for industry. Right. We extract, minerals and fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm.
We're constantly building and expanding. And all of that, it produces waste, pollution.
Yeah, exactly. And those are all really good examples of how, our activities are impacting the natural world. And I think, going back to that idea of balance, it does seem like a lot of what we're doing is, kind of pushing things in the wrong direction.
It's like we're accelerating the change,
Yeah.
right? And nature can't always keep up.
Right. Think about overfishing, right? We take too many fish out of the ocean, and it can take a long time for those populations to recover. Sometimes they don't recover at all, and that has ripple effects throughout the whole ecosystem.
And it's not just oceans; it's forests, it's the atmosphere, it's it's everything. It's all connected.
Exactly. So I think to bring it all back together, what these two phrases are really highlighting is this tension, between this ideal of balance and the reality of our impact.
Right. And the source material, as simple as it is, it really forces us to confront that tension head on.
Absolutely. It's like a challenge,
Yeah.
Okay, we have this impact, we have this potential for balance. So what are we going to do about it?
So here's a final thought for everyone listening. Given all of this, right, the fact that, we are part of this delicate system and we have this undeniable impact, what do you think is the single most important thing for people to understand about that impact?
That's a good question. I think for me, it goes back to that idea of interconnectedness. Everything in nature is connected. And so what we do in one place can have, ripple effects somewhere else. Even seemingly small actions can have, huge consequences. And I think, if people can really grasp that, then maybe we can start to make some more, mindful choices.
Choices that lead to a better balance. Well, thanks for helping unpack all of this. I think this is a conversation we all need to be having.
I agree.